Ethan Crawford, heir to a billionaire family, lived a life of arrogance and privilege. In a high-end restaurant, he humiliated a struggling waitress, never realizing how quickly life could turn. Years later, the tables turned in a way he never imagined. How would Ethan survive when the world he once controlled slipped from his grasp? And what valuable lesson can we take from this story? Watch until the end, because this isn't just a tale of downfall and redemption. It's about pride, hard work, and the true meaning of success. But before we begin, tell us in the comments, where are you watching this from? The elegant restaurant buzzed with soft chatter and the clinking of crystal glasses. Ethan Crawford sat at the center table, surrounded by his friends, laughing without a care. They indulged in the finest wine, the most expensive meals, and conversations filled with arrogance. Across the room, Lena Carter moved swiftly, balancing a tray of drinks. This wasn't her dream job, but she needed the money for college. Then, it happened. Her foot caught on the edge of the carpet. The tray wobbled. A glass of red wine tipped over, splashing onto Ethan's designer suit. The laughter at his table died instantly. Ethan slowly stood, eyes narrowing as he looked down at the deep red stain. Then, his gaze snapped up to Lena. "Oh my God," his voice was cold. "Is this your first day, or are you just naturally this stupid?" Silence fell over the restaurant. Every eye was on them. Lena's hands trembled as she fumbled for a napkin. I'm so sorry, sir. It was an accident." Ethan scoffed, waving her off. "An accident? Do you even know how much this suit costs? More than your entire year's salary." Reaching into his pocket, he pulled out a few $100 bills and tossed them onto the floor. "Here. Take this and get out of my sight. You don't belong here." Lena stared at the money, her jaw tightening. It wasn't shame she felt, it was something deeper. She could have picked up the money and walked away. But she didn't. Instead, she met Ethan's gaze, her eyes burning with quiet determination. Then, without a word, she turned and walked away, leaving the money untouched. At that moment, she made a promise to herself. One day, the tables would turn. Years passed. The world changed, and so did Lena Carter's life. Through sheer determination, she graduated with a full scholarship. She worked tirelessly, studying day and night, and eventually founded Carter Tech, a financial technology startup. Her company grew rapidly, attracting top investors. Soon, she became a major player in the industry, hailed as one of the most influential businesswomen in America. Meanwhile, Ethan Crawford's life took a different path. After his mother's sudden passing, his father fell ill, forcing Ethan to take over the family business. But he was unprepared. Poor decisions, reckless investments, one by one, they chipped away at the company's foundation. Investors pulled out. Stocks plummeted. The once glamorous Crawford estate grew eerily quiet. His luxury cars were sold off. His so-called friends disappeared. The man who once lived in excess now lived in fear of losing everything. In a desperate attempt to save his company, Ethan attended the Global Business Summit, a prestigious conference filled with CEOs and top investors. With the last shred of his confidence, he walked into the main hall. And froze. On the stage, seated among the VIP executives, was a woman speaking with quiet authority. Lena Carter. The waitress he had humiliated years ago. Now, she was one of the most powerful people in the room. As the event ended, Ethan lingered near the exit, his heart pounding. He had no choice. She was the only person here who could help him. Summoning his courage, he approached her as she chatted with other executives. When their eyes met, he felt a deep, stinging shame. "Lena," his voice was barely above a whisper. "Do you remember me?" Lena paused, then smiled slightly. "Of course, Ethan. How could I forget?" Her tone was calm, but there was something sharp beneath it. Ethan swallowed hard. There was no point in hiding the truth. "I need your help," he admitted. "My company is in trouble. I need an investor, or a business partner who can help me turn things around." Lena considered his words for a moment, then finally said, "I'm willing to help." Hope flickered in Ethan's eyes. "Thank you, Lena." But there's one condition," she interrupted. He nodded eagerly. "Anything." Lena reached into her bag, pulled out a folder, and handed it to him. "I want you to work at one of my restaurants," she said smoothly. "As a waiter." Ethan's blood ran cold. His hands shook as he flipped through the contract. Job title, server. Salary, minimum wage. His chest tightened. This wasn't what he had expected. "Lena. You're joking, right?" he asked, his voice unsteady. Lena's smile didn't waver. "I don't joke about business, Ethan." He stared at her, searching for some hint of leniency. But she simply waited for his response. He could refuse and walk away with his pride. Or he could accept, and have a chance to rebuild everything. After what felt like an eternity, Ethan exhaled shakily. With trembling hands, he picked up the pen and signed the contract. Ethan's first day as a waiter was a disaster. Dressed in a simple uniform, he struggled to keep up. His hands fumbled. His patience wore thin. "Hey, waiter," a man snapped from across the room. Ethan hurried over. "I ordered well done, not this. Do your job properly." The man shoved the steak back onto the plate. Ethan clenched his fists, anger boiling inside him. But then, realization hit him like a wave. He had once been on the other side of this. He had treated people exactly like this. Day by day, Ethan learned the weight of hard work. He faced rude customers, aching feet, and long shifts. And slowly, he changed. He no longer looked down on those who served. He understood now what Lena had wanted him to see. Months later, Lena called Ethan to her office. When he walked in, he wasn't the same man who had once belittled a waitress. He stood taller, not out of arrogance, but humility. Lena studied him for a moment, then spoke. "I never wanted revenge, Ethan. I just wanted you to understand." Ethan nodded, eyes filled with sincerity. "I do. And I'm sorry for what I did to you back then." Lena smiled, warmer this time. "I won't invest in your company." Ethan tensed. "But," she continued, "I will teach you how to rebuild it yourself." Ethan exhaled, this time with relief. For the first time, he felt ready to start over. Years later, Ethan revived his family's business, not through inheritance, but through hard work and resilience. And Lena? She remained exactly as she was, strong, intelligent, and never needing to step on others to prove she had won. Life has a way of turning tables. Today's privilege can be tomorrow's downfall. True success isn't about revenge, it's about rising above and proving we can be better. So respect everyone, no matter their role. Because the person you underestimate today may be the one you need tomorrow. And most importantly, no failure is permanent, if you're willing to learn and grow.